And let me just get to my first challenger, which I do think is Tottenham, which is insane. And I know it's going to seem very biased. You see my sweatshirt, and if you've watched the show, you know I'm a Tottenham fan. But I think what has happened recently with Tottenham is the team that you're watching over the past month, I'd say, who's been losing a few matches here and there, scrapping together a couple wins, and it hasn't looked convincing, is not the team that you're about to watch to end the last 3 months of the season. Once January is over, AFCON's over, and the Asian Cup is over, our full-strength lineup is going to be back, which is the same lineup that was top of the table. And I know that City was struggling, and now they're healthy and going to go on a charge. But the team, that wasn't a fluke that team was in first place, dominating every single game in the way they play. Maddison was the best player in the Premier League, and he could continue being the second best. I think it's clear now that De Bruyne is the best player in the Premier League, and it's not really close. The fact, as soon as he came on, I was watching the Newcastle game. As soon as he came on, I immediately bet Man City live. Because,
what were the odds at that point?
Well, I only took them +0.5 because there was such little time that I was like, they'll get a draw minimum.
What was the money line, like 450?
It had to have been something like that. It's just a joke how good he is. But I think Tottenham, you have, with Richarlison in unreal form, has more goals than Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. Just a little stat to throw in there. With Richarlison, Kulusevski, and Son, and then you have what I think with Maddison and Bentancur have never played together in the Premier League.
And they may never.
Well, Maddison's about to come back. He's going to start. And then you have a midfield that has Maddison, Bentancur, and then either Sarr or Basuma, in my opinion, is the best midfield in the Premier League.
How good do you think Bentancur is? Where do you put him in the list of midfielders in the Premier League?
In the Premier League, who's better than him? I think he's better than Enzo.
Okay.
I think Rodri's better. Declan Rice is better. De Bruyne's better, but he plays more defensive style.
You think Bentancur is better than Odegaard?
It's tough because you have to compare him to like 8s and 6s. Because
Odegaard
isn't going to... Bentancur isn't going to create the amount of goals that Odegaard is, but he's also providing...
Do you think would you rather have right now in this Tottenham team Bentancur or Jorginho?
What? Obviously Bentancur.
Really? That's interesting.
Does anyone rate Jorginho? He's not even starting.
I mean, but Bentancur wouldn't even make the 18 for us.
Arsenal?
He would be our sixth option midfielder.
No, it would be him, Rice, and Odegaard.
Not a chance.
Who do you think starts over him at Arsenal?
He doesn't play any of those roles. I mean, he's not the right profile for us. But Jorginho would do exactly what you need in that position, which is
that is the most insane thing I've ever... Jorginho and Bentancur aren't even close to the same player. Like, Jorginho's prime and how solid he was...
You need a midfielder next to Maddison who's going to control space, who is going to be a volume passer, who is not going to give the ball away cheaply. That's what you need in that role.
I think you're wildly underrating Bentancur. He's been injured, so people forget just how good he is, but I think
you're overrating the few games that he had.
He would easily start in the Arsenal team. I don't care. You want to tell me that...
Right, McAllister or Bentancur.
I'm a huge non-McAllister fan, and this actually leads me to why I don't think Liverpool can go on and win the title unless they make some signings. So you have Salah, who's currently away on international duty, and I think it does line up well that it's not a really busy period in the Prem while these other tournaments are going on. So I think they'll be able to overcome that. But the fact of the matter is he has 14 goals, and then they have 5, 3, and 3 as their next goal contributions from Darwin, Jota, Gakpo, and I forget who, and Luis Diaz. And I think if Salah's goals dry up for any reason, then Liverpool is pretty much taking themselves out of the title race. That's why in our transfer episode, I said that they should probably bring in another striker because I think Darwin...
See, I think that's kind of lazy because when Salah is scoring as many goals as he's scoring, you're only going to score X amount of goals, right? Like, if you...
In terms of what?
In terms of, let's say Nunez has 5 goals and Gakpo has 5 goals. They're going to make up some of that gap. They're not going to make up all of that gap that Salah leaves behind, but there are goals to be had in a team that creates as many chances as anybody in the Premier League. So the goals are there to be had. whether or not Salah is there to put them away, they have plenty of
No,
attacking
but that's
options.
the difference. Is Salah's one of the deadliest finishers
for sure.
like ever, and then Darwin is wildly inconsistent. I actually think Diaz
Also creates a lot, though.
I think Diaz is really, really good, and then you have Gakpo and Jota who haven't shown consistency to score either. And more than that, touching on McAllister, and the reason I brought up Liverpool is I like a midfield of Endo, McAllister, and Zoboslai like doesn't really do anything for me in terms of actually going and making a title charge. And then I actually think I'd rather have Curtis Jones than I would Alexis McAllister. I don't know if that's
I like Curtis Jones a lot.
Take.
I posted on mine recently, which is it's a big like talk in the Arsenal fan base right now about the academy and like how we don't use them correctly, and people complain that we sold Joe Willock, even though Joe Willock would never have fit this system whatsoever. We didn't need a ball carrying 8 who is not really good in possession. And I said Curtis Jones is what Arsenal fans thought Joe Willock could be, which is like excellent in possession. He's creative. He's a duel winner. He's a really intelligent player. I really like Curtis Jones. I mean, I agree. Like Liverpool are 6 short still. Like I think we've been saying that for a while, but I don't know. They've made up for it. McAllister's kind of come on a little bit more as of late, and I mean Trent's play has been ridiculous recently. I mean he's
out injured now for a month.
I know,
which is
killer for them. I mean he is on a. I mean to me he is a top 3 player in the Premier League. I don't think it's close. He's probably a top 7 player in the world.